The Zaydis were named after Zayd ibn Ali, who was the great-grandson of Imam Hussein. He led an unsuccessful revolt against the Umayyad Khalifa Hisham in Kufa in 740. Zaydis, of course, are different from Imami Shiites or Twelver Shiites. They are often known as the Fivers, because they believe in Panch Imam, as opposed to the other Shiites who believe in Bara Imam. And Abu Hanifa, in fact, supported the Zaydis, and Zaydis were therefore also very close to Hanafi jurisprudence, as well as, interestingly, to Mu'tazila thought. In fact, a lot of Mu'tazila thought mainly survives in Zaydi theology. Zaydis themselves were divided into three camps: Juradis, who rejected the early Khalifas except Hazrat Ali, and then the Sulaimanis, who said they had been in error, the early Khalifas, but they had not sinned in any way. And then a third group who basically accepted Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar and so on. By the way, now most Zaydis are basically in this category. These two categories of Zaydis are finished. That is why the Zaydis are considered actually to be the closest to Sunni school of thought of any Shia school. The idea was the Zaydis do not believe in the infallibility of the Imam, like the Ismailis who do believe in that, or like the Imami Shiites who do believe in that. Zaydis also uphold free will, which they got from the Mu'tazila philosophers. They said, Insan ke paas free will hai, which has been gifted to them by God. Any male Husainid endowed with legal learning, piety, courage and political ability, who called for the allegiance to himself with a view to taking over government, could become the Imam in their point of view. This was, of course, also the conflict, because the Zaydis at that point in time, in the 8th century, were pretty militant, and they wanted to fight the Umayyads, whereas the other side thought that it was premature and we shouldn't do that. So Zaydis did not follow Imam Baqir, and they argued that the Imam will be the person who fights against the Umayyads. But today this is forgotten. No Zaydi will ever say today that anything negative about any Imam as such, right? But I'm telling you that really is the history. So the Zaydis were perhaps the first to elevate to create a doctrine that elevates the role of the Sayyids, etc. But they also maintained that religious knowledge is dispersed in the community, and Zaydi Imams were really some of the great scholars, etc. They owed their protracted appeal in the heartlands to the widespread belief in the hereditary nature of righteousness. That is, of course, the main Shiite idea as well, that the house of the Prophet is where really righteousness is held. They created several different kingdoms, short-lived though that they were. The Iraniyat Zaidi kingdom of Delam, which is in 791 and lasts till the 11th century. Then they had another dynasty in Gilan, which was from 1370 to 1592. Tabaristan, they had a dynasty in the 9th century. And they had one in central Arabia, another one in the 9th century. Then they had one in southern Spain in the 11th century. They had a Moroccan dynasty in the 9th and 10th century. And they had which was the longest lasting one and the most recent one. They had a lot of supporters in Yemen. Today, if you go to Yemen, you will find that there are a lot of Zaydis in Yemen. Okay. Crone writes that the unpalatable truth was that the price of civilization was submission to tyrants. The alternative was tribalism with or without religious beautification. What does she mean? She means that there were two choices. Why is it, she's asking, that whether it's the Zaydis we are talking about, whether it's the Hashemites we're talking about, the Abbasids, whether it's the Umayyads we are talking about, all of them are moving towards a form of government that we can only call monarchy, hereditary succession. Why, after all, is that happening? And the only people who are not calling for them fail to create any viable large kingdoms. What do they create? They create tribal society. Those were the main two options, she's saying. If you're going to control a state of that size, you've got to have a monarchy to control it. If you don't want to do that, you can have small tribal kingdoms, as the Kharijites did have.